Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. How are you today? Hope you're doing great. Small retraction from yesterday. It was not Tuesday. I had the date right, wrong day of the week. It was Wednesday, which means today is Thursday, and it is March 21st. The first day of Aries season. Happy birthday, Aries. And the cosmic New Year. So happy New Year. First season of the cosmic year is upon us by way of Aries season. So again, happy birthday to all the Aries out there, you fiery, what are you guys? We're arrows. What are you guys? Definitely my kindred flames. What's that? What's Aries sign? Why am I drawing a blank on that right now? That's embarrassing. Oh, the ram. The ram. Of course. Fiery ram. The initiator, the go-getter, the driving force behind our identity. Definitely wouldn't hurt to tap into the courage and fierceness and fearlessness, shall we say, of that energy for sure, especially embarking upon a new season with new opportunities and activations already underway. Aries, we salute you and we thank you for your presence. Without you initiating the rest of the cosmic calendar, where would we be? Perhaps starting in Taurus? I don't know. But anyway, here we are. Let's see what we got today. Should I cut it again? No, I'm gonna just, yeah. All right, so we got a bit of an initiator here in the fire department with the Knight of Wands. This could be an Aries card, but I'm actually not 100% sure. To some degree, oh, there's the hawk again. So to some degree, it would make sense, but I would be surprised if I'm right about that, to be honest. But it definitely speaks to ambition, drive, fearlessness, that creative, what's the right word? Conquering spirit, that'll see an idea and go after it, almost with no inhibition. And, depending on the territory and target, that could be it could be a positive outcome. I say worst case scenario, it becomes worst case of the best case in the upright is that it's a learning experience where I myself have been, have been a soldier of impulse where I just let my passion take hold of me and followed my creative nudges, and sometimes it ends up in a very productive and super creative place, even beyond what my initial intentions may have been. And sometimes, as I said, it was a lesson. It taught me something either about what not to do or how to maybe slow it down, run it back, and be a little bit more careful and calculated in my approach. Maturity definitely is not a bad, this is definitely an energy that kind of like segues to a maturation in your creativity. Sometimes you got to just get out and do it and see what happens before you learn how to really be more directive with your force. or more reserved even at times as well. So, but like I said, sometimes you learn better just doing, and that's what this energy definitely will do, is do. Now, that's, of course, in the highest vibration. Somebody's very active, very passionate, very forward in their ambitions, or that is the spirit of this message to some degree, but we're going to see. Let's get into it. I might end up moving that. Let's see, what's this knight headed towards? Let's start with that. What's he so ambitious to get to or to connect with? Oh. Well, that definitely came up. It landed in reverse. So let's see. Ooh, break up some party. That's what I just got. So this could be like a Calvary mission or some type of avenging mission is what I hear. Against the Three of Pentacles in reverse? I don't think I've ever had that card in reverse. So the collaboration, the Three of Pentacles in the upright is a collaborative effort, could be higher learning of some sort, some concerted effort, could even be work. Yeah, definitely speaking to somebody breaking up. In the reverse is certainly something. It could be the disruption or fragmentation of a concerted effort, or a collusion, or some corroboration of sorts that has been either dismantled by a very ambitious force to be reckoned with, that's how I'm reading that. Or or just the sheer fear of someone. Because the Knight of Wands can be a wild boy. Like, you don't really, this is the last of the knights that you really want to face on the battlefield. So it could be word got out that somebody is en route or has gotten wind of some collusion, and that has turned everything upside down. Like, people are scattering like roaches, or afraid for whatever this reckoning may be. Because this is the Knight of Wands, and that energy is someone that I was going to say shoots first, ask questions later, but maybe swings first or something first. There's some activity or power behind their presence that precedes conversation. It's like they ain't going to talk too much or ask too many questions. They already know why they may be angry, or like there's already a bit of irritation or maybe even rage with why they have to address this in the first place. So now that they are, it's like all business type of thing. Not the type of business they were doing, whatever that is. Maybe let's get another one back here. Let's go back and then we'll go forward. That's that good old moon card. Yeah, there was something shady going on. Something shady, something dark, something mystical, obscure. Yeah, some hidden alliance maybe. Could be like a hidden enemies that someone was set out to avenge or revenge. I don't know. Pisces energy definitely coming to bring a lesson and an ending. All right, let's keep going. Queen of Swords. On the order of the Queen of Swords. Let's see what the Queen of Swords is pointing to. Some money or an opportunity. So is she guarding it, or is she... What is this? Ooh. Oh, so this is what I'm picking up. Because sometimes, so there was some collusion over here to get their hands on this. But it turns out that something happened here, because sometimes I see this Three of Pentacles as like, it could be a financial institution, it could be a courthouse. In the upright, when you look at it, you see these archways, and it looks like an inside of some type of historic building. And I even have picked it up as like two people presenting some type of documents for examination. It has come up by way of like identity theft or fraud, which would definitely explain the reverse of this Three of Pentacles. So someone maybe tried to get access to something secretly under a distorted identity or a fake identity, or access to something that they were not privileged to in some way, shape, or form. And this is what I get. It's like, this feels like almost like a guarding of it, or being kept safe in some other place, like where they thought it was going to be. It wasn't there, or it was moved, like say overnight or transferred or something. It's something with that here. I know it sounds kind of strange, but somebody tried to get access to some type of financial resource, accounts, documents, privilege of some sort. The access was denied, this could even be, yeah, because it could almost have been like a setup type of situation, like a sting type of thing, where it was supposed to be in a place where it would normally be, or within the access that it typically would be governed by, but something was done secretly, and it was either put in another place or locked in another type of security or in another account, or with some type of new level of, there was some type of different level of clearance required. I don't know, but something was required here. Maybe even say a form of identity was needed by way of a new security code or something like that. But this is giving me identity with the Queen of Swords, and it didn't match up. It was never going to, because probably the only folks that didn't know that this was going to be required, or this was more or less like the setup to get taken down, were the ones that thought they could just walk in and do business as usual. It's like somebody was already waiting there to kind of take action, like soon as they try to, withdraw, or maybe they were able to withdraw, and even still it was like a sting, so it wasn't really actually the funds are somewhere else, or they were protected in a way that's like they thought they were busting a move, but lo and behold, like I said, here comes the cavalry or the sweep to come and catch somebody in the act, like, damn, we caught type of energy, because the identities did not align. Who's privy to this fortune or this opportunity, this man, and now I can hear it in different ways, like this gift. It's like, mystically speaking, it comes out all different types of ways. Mystically speaking, like somebody was trying to gain access to someone else's fortune, their gifts, their abilities or something, trying to more or less force themselves into another person's spiritual identity with this moon card here. And that may have been working to some degree, or for a distance, an amount of time. But now reality, this is like an exposure type of card, like where people are like, hold up, people are either hip to the game from the outside looking in, like, you don't really do that, or they're asking questions. Like, this is somebody, like, for instance, claiming to be some type of mystic or spiritualist or something, just per se, right? But their whole swag, they either stole off of someone else or stole off of a combination of other someone else's, but it's not really their true essence or what they truly possess. Like they could be a tarot reader, or an oracle, so to speak, or even something more traditional of a spiritualist, of which I don't have quite the evidence for on this board, but just rock with me. There was some mystical expression that was happening here, but it was fraudulent. It was not real. The true gift is over here, and it's organically possessed and expressed. Like, you ain't gotta try too hard for, you really don't have to look too hard. Like, how sometimes you have to squint your eyes and adjust, like, is that so-and-so? Like, is this real type of thing? It's like, you don't have to do all that over here, because it's just natural. It makes sense. But somebody, it's like, had to put on a whole show to a whole production to pass this as truth, and it still wasn't sustainable because it's not real. It's an illusion. So there's that aspect as well. And they needed more support to do it, because in the Three of Pentacles, there's like a couple presenting themselves to this other person here that's standing up with almost, it's not a light, it's called something else by definition, but I forget what it's called. But in the card, it looks like a light, like they're examining, like almost somebody saying like, you got ID? Can I see that? You know, like they're trying to get into the club. Trying to get into the club with fake IDs or as VIPs, but their passes or their IDs are fake, you know, and it's like the bouncer taking a closer look with a spotlight, like, or a flashlight, like, nah, man, this ain't real. Where you get these passes, or where you get this ID from? Or that he start asking questions on the ID, like, when's your birthday? Where were you born? You know, and it's like they can't even really answer them because before they never had to. It was just a matter of, well, my face matches, my picture matches, you know, it looks real, it looks legit, you know, so they never really got questioned too much before because the facade was so well produced, as a good ID would be, right? That they never had to answer for it in detail. But it's like somebody new working the door, you know, or somebody different that doesn't recognize them or doesn't know them, or it's just suspicious that way, that they are doing their due diligence to make sure that only who should be admitted is admitted. No one, nothing more and no one less. Okay, so this is somebody that got stopped at the gate. And there's like a point of no entry at this point because they're not who they say they are. And you could take that in every way, shape, and form. That could be by way of some financial institution. It could be some legal situation that could get deep. So I don't think I'm going to try to go into that too much. It could actually be an organization, a place, access to a circle of privilege in some way, shape, or form. It could be social media, you know, how people be stealing content and whole identities, like just straight up taking a person's whole stilo and making it their own. You know, matter of fact, while I'm on this case, because I was going to say, you could be over at YouTube and somebody that took your whole operation to TikTok. You're not even on TikTok. And speaking to that point, I felt guided to say this yesterday, but I didn't. That just to be clear, I'm not on any other platforms but YouTube. I'm not on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, Snapchat, TikTok. None of it. I used to be on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, but I'm not anymore, happily, because I felt guided to release those platforms way back last year in the summertime, like June or July. And certainly I wouldn't reach out to you by way of my email or any other medium to solicit for readings, donations, none of the sort. For a long time, I didn't even have my email or my Cash App posted on this channel in the description purposefully. So I just feel like I need to say that just in case there's any frauds out there. My channel, you know, numerically, and it's not at a level such as some other spiritualists that you can actually see that infraction for yourself in their comments and things like that, where people just blatantly try to poach their subscribers to buy into all types of scams and stuff. So thankfully I don't have those problems quite yet, and I hope I never do. However, I know scammers still be scamming and that doesn't stop people from finding other ways to be discreet about their agenda to commit fraud. So I just thought I'd say that just to be clear, because I actually had a mind randomly to share that. And as you see, I'm not one of those that has like a whole speech and a spiel every time I come on, you know, other than whatever I feel channel, guided to say from channel or download, but I'm not one that's like, subscribe, hit the like button, don't get scammed in the comments. I don't feel guided to say all that because I just don't have the energy to. But today I felt like I needed to be specific in that regard. So if you see anybody that looks like me on any other platform or has my profile picture, which I've used for a few years now, so it's definitely been in circulation for a long time. Anybody could have snagged it off of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at any given time and posted it as their own. Just know that I'm not reaching out. I barely make it to the comment section for the few comments that I have right now to engage. So trust me, I'm never going to try to scam you or finesse you out of anything. I'm just happy you're here watching in this moment. So thank you very much. There will come a time where I'll have plenty to sell, but even that will be at your own will. Will never be by me pushing it or probing you for your patronage at all. So just to be clear. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay. So we got the Ace of Cups. Let's move this up because I'm going to just go straight across. Ace of Cups. With the Moon card. Interesting. I feel like this is that spiritual manipulation that I'm speaking of on this side of the spectrum, of something funny going on. Somebody projecting themselves to be a healer, to be a lover, to have some type of elixir of life in their arsenal, even if it's by way of experience or knowledge and wisdom, and it's really tainted. It's not what it appears to be. It's given very spiritual now that I expressed it that way. Like they've been ordained, like they've been ordained to do something miraculous and spectacular and blessed and highly favored, and it's like it's a burden to keep up that energy because it's not true. When it's natural, it's almost effortless, but this is someone that has to go through a great length or had to go to great lengths to keep up the facade, and it ended up to keep up this facade of purity. That's what this is given with the Ace of Cups. Wholeness, healing, being healed, and maybe being an offering of healing in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, like a mystic or a light worker. And over time, the lies just continue to become more and more stressful, more of a burden to maintain. Till it finally came to an end, which is the 10 of Wands, or somebody can't keep up the lie anymore. The math ain't mathing. Out the deal. We got the Queen of Wands. And then the the Page of Cups. So what's the Queen of Wands here about? So that's creativity, courage, somebody trying to attract offers to themselves. But attract. They were trying to attract. Oh, okay. So from the Ace of Cups, it's like they were trying to. Oh, okay. From here, they were trying to extract this energy from the real one. The Ace. In this case, this is a witch. Okay, follow me. Follow me, camera. Shout out to Messy Maya, because yes, this is messy. This Queen of Wands is, in this case, it could be someone, or just someone that just has, yeah, they have mystical intentions. It could even be someone that has gifts or had gifts, but wasn't content enough in her own authenticity before she felt like she needed to, or this could be the facade, that has become a burden. But what's been happening is she's been extracting it from authentic spaces, i.e. other people, spiritualists, again, still in other people's flow, swag, actual words could be with the Queen of Wands. I'm sorry, with the Queen of Swords, like actual communications, messages, back to what I'm saying about, stealing content and either recreating it in her own image or her own expression, or not. Some people aren't even that creative, but I get the sense as the Queen of Wands that somebody probably was at least that creative enough to dub it in their own energy, but it's not their content or their creativity, their message. It's like, it's fraud, it's stolen. And what I'm seeing here is that the Queen of Wands is a powerful force, but power within their own authenticity just as much as the Queen of Swords is, like within their own lane. This is someone that used their power, their creativity for lower frequencies. So for the purposes of extracting other people's energy and repurposing it, there's not as great of a return on that, which is why this is the Page of Cups. What she needed to fuel this Ace of Cups to look like, top of the top, premium, supreme, healing expression, but all she was really able to attain was the Page, something small and distorted with that fish in the cup, because it's not real. It must be authenticated in spirit and in truth. But so many people you're going to fool in that frequency. It's like somebody all dressed up in the robes and in the, has the whole production going for themselves of this mystical goddess of fire and water. And, she's got all the elements at her fingertips, and she's putting on all types of illusionary spectacles. But eventually somebody's going to take a look behind the curtain, or want to see more behind the curtain, or have a demand of you that you won't be able to truly answer to, because it's not an authentic source that you possess. It's only but so long that supply is going to last from where you're getting it from. And then when that cup or that well runs dry, you got to depend on your own capability. And in this case, it's like the Queen of Wands has a power all her own, but if you're not cultivating that organically, and you're only relying on what you can siphon from outside of yourself, or repurpose, or misrepresent, then that power that you have probably lies dormant, or is not as well polished as it would be if you were exclusively cultivating it, Like the Queen of Wands working on her firepower. No, she's working on her sword power, or trying to evoke some water power or whatever, You know, when you're the Queen of Wands, do what you do naturally. Someone's own power has become a burden because they haven't been pleased enough with it, or I guess esteemed enough by it to cultivate it or to like advance it. And now when you heap that karmic debt on yourself from doing things that in this case are out of spiritual alignment entirely, hence the henchman here, you also put yourself in a distorted position to activate true power, because not even just because your natural power has lied dormant, but now you've distorted and tainted your energy with foreign, like with foreign foreign entities or energies, or so I don't know how to say it, but it's like putting the wrong batteries into an appliance or, some electronic. It's just not going to work. Or I usually say like putting cheap batteries into an electronic and expecting it to be like full power, and like either you're going to have to keep changing those batteries over and over again, or you eventually going to have to upgrade to a more efficient brand that you can rely on. And the only efficiency that one can truly rely on is their true, authentic self. Yeah, here's that energy here. Somebody that's contented with self, secure, stable, not trying to prove anything to anybody, satisfied with what they have to offer, what they've attained. And this is a spiritual and material expression of security and even prominence, I would say, but definitely security and stability. In spirit and in truth, mentally and materially. That's what this expresses here. Somebody that's not putting on airs, that doesn't need anyone else to be powerful or to feel validated in their own right. They just doing what they do, literally a do you type of card. Somebody don't even know who you is anymore. Or they lost touch with their self a long time ago. They became more contented by being others or absorbing others' creativity or energy or vitality as a supplement. Yeah, and here was the grand plan, to take over the world, to have the fortune of all fortunes at their fingertips. And it's like, first of all, they saw the world way too small for that to be an easy task. Somebody needed a much more expansive perspective. And if they had one, then they wouldn't be they wouldn't have this ambition in the first place. It's kind of like a dull mission. But somebody was intentional about putting in some work or enlisting others to help support this cause. That's probably what this energy is here. Like somebody, and get into it. This is somebody of a lesser suit, not a king. This is just the Two of Wands, then the Queen. So that means that she probably was careful to like employ or elicit energies that either didn't know any better or that were easy to manipulate for the purpose of her ambition. Yeah. All right. I feel like these are crooked still. It's bothering me. All right. Let's see what else we got. Few more. We out of here. Yep, and I'm gonna take that just like that. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Somebody, they invested till the cows came home and still never quite made good on their intentions. Someone that sold and sold and sold to no avail. Well, actually, let me think about that. I feel like yes, because I would say, you know, because it's definitely someone that's persistent and there's someone in the upright, but at least there's something that's yielded. It may or may not be what is desirable or what was expected, but there's at least a yield from the work that was put in and the persistence behind it. But this is giving me that somebody just did a whole lot for nothing. That's what that's giving. Like for all the investment they made into being someone else, doing things that were out of their jurisdiction, putting on certain masks and face and costumes and facades and finessing energies to employ for their own efforts. And it's like everything and everybody and all of it was just useless energy spent. It doesn't even matter what was attained for a period of time, you know, because in the grand scheme of things, in the end, it doesn't justify, like the means don't justify the end at this point. That's actually probably what that card is giving. That they could have become a millionaire 1,000 times over, but now at the end of at this point in time, maybe having not much to show for all that they acquired, being exposed for exactly who they are, perhaps being disconnected from the livelihood that they created for themselves, or being disgraced in some way, like not honored or revered as an honest person at this point, if anybody even cares really. But this energy, it might be more of a care about the material aspect, but it could matter, who knows. Spending a lot of time and energy and a great deal of power that could have been well invested in something much more sustainable and sustaining, long-term and lasting perhaps, because it wasn't a bad plan, you know, or was it the execution? Something was all right here. Like it probably was very smart, you know, and very you know, what can I say, like it was probably, well, if nothing else, certainly very ambitious. But I suppose that what now has become an experience also gets to be a lesson. And, you know, it could be taken as such if a person was so inclined to alchemize it in that regard. But certainly it didn't yield the prosperity that it was intended to. So still someone is finding themselves having to kind of start over, but not really having the support to start over in the way that they know how best, like probably now having to actually answer to their organic nature. And maybe even having to start over in the discovery of exactly what is that at this point. right, so we got the Chariot. Yeah, and the Hangman. The Chariot first and then the Hangman, which is interesting. Because usually with the Hangman, that's the pause before you can move forward, like waiting on some enlightenment or more information, reevaluation. But the Chariot before that, what does that mean? Oh, that could be the actual police. That kind of put a stop. Oh, and then stop. This is the stop of the operation here. Putting someone in a compromised position. So this could be assets. Oh, that's why it's like wasted energy, because it could be that somebody, remember we started this about trying to get access to some type of funds, and it could be that not only did somebody lose access to funds that they were trying to acquire, they also lost what they had acquired. Either funds have been seized, or for investigation, or, as evidence, whatever. But this is given police or some type of agency with the Chariot card here. That's the burden on the whole operation. Yeah, and it's like energy that was well watered, right? See, that's the thing. Like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears literally went into building this harvest, only for it to be like swiped away. And now this person is like hanging out to dry, perhaps at a crossroads to either like take a deal or surrender, maybe actually surrender. And by surrender, because remember we had this stallion here. So it could be somebody that's either on the run or that knows that they're under fire at this point, or under investigation, or whatever the case may be. And it's just like only a matter of time. There's really not far you can run or hide before this catches up. This could even be spiritual police. Like, you ain't running far from that. Spiritual agents, that only offenders can see, And here's the offense here against the spirit, the organic spirit, the natural spirit, from like this is almost like laundering energy or money by way of the expression of some type of spiritual affluence or identity. That's a big no-no, because you're not only extorting the spirit, you're extorting the people that may be actually in the market for healing or some type of spiritual uplifting. And you put yourself in a position to be an access point for that is beyond fraudulent, because it's getting in the way of between someone that might actually need something that they could go find somewhere else where they could actually get it, and playing, extorting the innocent in a sense. Or extorting people in their time of need of healing or in despair or something like that. Yeah, taking a great advantage of people in a very vulnerable state. That's a big offense that people are paying for heavily now. You see it not just in a religious sense with different leaders, pastors, preachers, spiritual influencers that are being exposed in one way or another, or being called to the light in some way, shape, or form. Public officials who are supposed to be serving the people, those that are in the position of power, like police officers, judges, like all of that is coming into judgment now, as the message from yesterday spoke about. But it's like the sentencing is one thing for the judgment, it's another thing for the sentencing. And that's what this is looking like here. People are losing their assets, they're losing their access, maybe losing their minds because of the loss of those other things, the material things that they depend on, or just being in fear for what gets to happen next on account of the judgment that has been decided. Like I said, trying to hold on to everything they got left, maybe secret stashes and places that they think are untouchable or undetected, or just trying to hold on to, the last bit of reality that they would wish to maintain. It could be even identity or appearances, character, reputation, storylines that people want to hold on to, like, no, everything is fine, we good over here, Meanwhile, the whole house is burning down. There's that as well with the Four of Pentacles. Or inside, you didn't had to pawn everything in the house just to get a couple packs of oodles and noodles, to eat or whatever. Or so fixated on holding on to the appearance of well-being, if not wealth itself, that you're missing the cues of opportunities for actual protection. Like, what you really need to be worried about is the police on your ass, or what evidence is mounted against you. It may be even in spiritual court, like making some atonement for what you've done instead of trying to keep up this story of innocence. This front of innocence is what it is. One more. Yeah, this is the tables turning, like those, it's really the, it's like cause and effect, here, like perhaps those that were preying on those less fortunate now get to be in that position of needing help and support, and hopefully they get it. That's the hope and prayer for them. But it's certainly not guaranteed, because this is just giving like some equal give and take here, it's like street justice to some degree is how I'm picking it up in this context. Where, like I said, those that have been disenfranchised on account of the acts of those in high positions, generally speaking, personally or otherwise, that took advantage of people in their state of despair or neediness or lack, poverty, whatever the case may be, that stood to actually advance or prosper on account of it, instead of actually being a help fairly. It's one thing not to help, it's another thing to actually prosper off of someone else's misfortune, diabolically so, by chance, it just happens that way, so be it, I suppose. But this is the intention of creating imbalance to then prosper from imbalance, like creating imbalance within people spiritually, distorting their reality to believe a certain narrative, to even put their faith and energy into some refuge or sanctuary of some sort, or help or support, whatever this was or is, even if it is a matter of somebody that just was given false tarot readings, or just saying anything, or stealing somebody else's energy, and again repurposing it or reposting it. It wasn't real, and it wasn't fair to those that were honestly looking for a service and a support system. And now that energy gets to be balanced out, so says the universe. And it could be happening in a very physical way, a material way for sure, as above, so below, as within, so without. But it's happening nonetheless. That's one thing that nobody can get around. So let's see what we got. Wow, yeah, the Lover's card, about choices. Some people chose their higher selves. Some people chose to pretend to be their higher selves or be evolved in some certain way, and they really weren't. They never even had a mind to or a heart to, but it sure does pay to look like you're head and shoulders above the rest, and to sell us a service to others as to how to be more supreme, how to be more evolved, by really just gathering bits and pieces of I don't know, like applications and energies from others that you see, and molding into one solid operation for yourself. But it would have been far more forwarding for energy such as this that I spoke of to talk about their own journey. That's more empowering, because it will be coming from an authentic frequency, and that would inspire the aspiration to a more supreme self naturally and honestly, where everybody gets to win. You get to ascend and help others ascend because it's honest. Exactly. That's the win. Certainly not imposing or interfering with others, because you know that if you ain't helping nobody living a lie, presenting it as your truth, there's no, that energy doesn't produce well. Even if it does on the surface, eventually it's going to come to light, and so it ends up doing more damage to those souls that get affected here, because it puts you in those in that position to feel like they can't even trust themselves. And it's a deterrent from seeking help or healing otherwise. Like people that have been in, some type of distorted spiritual, like say a cult per se. Yes, there was the decision made on the participants' part to submit themselves to that experience, but there also is the responsibility and accountability on the leader or leaders for what they willingly led those sheep in that regard into, knowing full well themselves what they did and did not truly have to offer, and what they really meant well to, how they really meant well to be or make an impact. It's one thing if you got somebody that's just a bit delusional, and this is really how they see themselves, and they feel like they're God or they're someone that should be followed. And I mean, that's a thing, but usually it becomes more of a diluted mindset from the origins of a disrupted soul that is looking to gain in some way, shape, or form, whether it be credibility, notoriety, clout, attention, again, prosperity, or some type of material exchange. And then it becomes more of like the delusions of grandeur once that ego is fed a certain type of way, and they actually start believing what it is that they pumped themselves up to be. So it could be a little bit of that here eventually, where somebody's just lost touch with reality, like I said, they don't even realize that they are not that. They never were. They started to drink their own Kool-Aid to some degree. No matter what, still someone would have to answer for their actions and their intentions. And even more so for those that they led astray on account of diabolical motivations, So this would have been the sure route to answer to the supreme being of self, to submit to source, whatever you see that to be, to live above the fray, beyond the competitive spirit that sometimes distorts our actions and our intentions to do these things that don't ever turn out well, and to actually live in peace and let that be the leading force behind our passion. Just being your authentic self, naturally, organically, and not really caring about, you could be as crazy as you want to be, just as long as you being you. You know what I mean? Eventually, in that authenticity, I believe you'll come to the saving grace of yourself. I do. But spirit can't do nothing with somebody that's pretending to be something and something else that is something else altogether. Because that energy won't submit and won't be molded. Certainly isn't surrendered to any co-creative exchange. They too busy feeling like they got it all under control themselves. So what can truly be done with that vessel, other than it being used ultimately, this is the upside of things, to lead people to the truth of their vulnerabilities. That's the upside of surviving situations such as this, where you're like, damn, I really fell for that, huh? All right, well, I know for next time. Again, it could have the adverse effect of making you distrust everything, including yourself. But on the upswing, it could also build confidence, security in self, hopefully seeing where you possessed what you were seeking all along or had access to it, and strengthening your boundaries so that you never quite have to look outside of yourself to be affirmed again. That spirit of insecurity and incompleteness that often does lead us into situations and experiences that just prey on us. That's what happens in this realm. But certainly anyone that has come through it or seen the other side, I hope would take the higher road of all that I just said and just start choosing themselves as supreme and submitting to a source that, if nothing else, is greater than what they perceive themselves to be and would aspire to then match up to. Not a deflected reflection of, but certainly something to be inspired to become. And usually that's not so much anything that you see outside of yourself. It's more internal than anything. Only you could be the best you that you would ever want to be. Anybody else should, outside of that scope and that on the external perspective, is just striving to be their best, so we can inspire each other on that journey, but we certainly can't emulate in any reflective form, truly. So, yeah, I don't know, but that's what it is today. Yeah, I love the lovers at the end. There's victory and success overall for those that choose to be themselves organically. That is the hope of it all. That's the happy ending. It's always going to be successful and prosperous being you, no matter what. All right, so thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.